that damage.
Yeah, you're not in control anymore.
But you're absolutely right in that if World Elite, if they play that to perfection, they don't allow Katarina those opportunities. She can kind of sit around the outside of the fights and just feel threatened the whole time.
And what I really like that just happened here from WE is you look at the situation with their bans, and they did research here. And now I realize that Clear Love plays a great Blitzcrank, but N-rated caused Fnatic to win their match against Taipei Assassins with Blitzcrank. That's pretty much the reason they won both those games. It was amazing rocket grabs initiating fights. And so WE, they completely made sure, you could have predicted very easily all 3 bans here from Fnatic. Twisted Fate, Rengar, and Diana are all bans I think you called actually. You're like, TF is gone. You're like, Rengar is going to be banned based on who's first pick.
I did think that World Elite was going to ban Katarina and Ezreal though, but I think you're absolutely right on that. Katarina and Zyra, we've seen on N-rated, has been incredible. But with Ezreal open, Fnatic, they go ahead and take it. I definitely think it's Reckless's strongest AD in this matchup, and particularly against Blitzcrank. Since Ezreal is known as a strong counterpick to Blitzcrank, you just Arcane Shift away as he hits the grab, and you're always safe.
And the one thing that's difficult here, though, is they can't necessarily run something like Sona here, because if Blitzcrank pulls her, she'll just fall over and die, especially against a Corki who's very bursty. Right. So right off the bat, you're probably going to... I would actually expect to see Nunu here come in from Fnatic, just because it fits this lineup very, very well. You're kind of overkilling attack speed steroids on Ezreal, but you've got a sort of a bruiser frontliner who's going to be very disruptive. When you consider that Blitzcrank's going to try to run forward, and you're going to have a great attack speed slow for Corki, and you can buff up your carry, you're going to have a really good chance. Yes, I got the Nunu call.
I was actually going to ask if there was a chance of a Taric, but you got it right on the money. So
yeah, I like Nunu more than Taric just because he's more versatile. Taric is a great laner. He's really good if you're burst. Like if you're going Graves and even like Corki, or maybe even Caitlyn, and you're like trying to kill the opposition in lane, Taric's like your #1 pick there. He's the most kill-oriented support, like him and Leona. But if you're doing anything other than just trying to shut something down, Nunu works in a lot more situations. He can be more defensive. He can actually protect you in a later team fight. And of course, Blood Boil is ludicrously good. So generally speaking, I like Nunu a lot.
And World Elite picking up Jarvan and Orianna, so 2 really strong champions, but it gives them a great early game, great initiation. And Fnatic in the previous match had actually picked up Jarvan in that mid lane. Yeah. And XPK, he actually got off to a decent start, but then in team fights, he would try and force that initiation, and World Elite would collapse back perfectly and avoid that Jarvan kill. So now in this situation, I'm kind of curious what XPK is going to play. We've seen a number of strong champions from him in the past. They haven't really had any qualms about running a magic damage-less team. We've seen that some from them, but
that's true.
Probably going to be something like Ari potentially, or one of those XPK favorites.
Evelyn's actually a great choice. It makes a lot of sense in this lineup. The thing I wouldn't really like. You talked about the magic damage list team, and that works really well actually as they lock in Evelyn. So not a magic damage list team, but if they wanted to, they've got Nunu and Shen and about half of Ezreal's kit to deal magic damage. So if they stacked armor, they'd still have tools there. Right. But we look at these lineups here, and you've got a really, really strong setup on both teams. I think they managed to do well in Champion Select. You've got a Blitz Corki bottom lane, which can be very, very aggressive, and you can put out a lot of damage. And anytime you see a team with Blitzcrank, they can get kills out of nowhere and turn a game around. They've got a ridiculously awesome front line. Olaf and Jarvan together can dive forward and be sort of focal points for Orianna to toss out shockwaves and dissonances. So WE initiates ridiculously well, and if Xiaomei gets off to a really good opening, he's going to crush out the back line, and I always expect Wei Zhao to do well.
Yeah, but one of the interesting things about Fnatic's team is they have a really nice opportunity to protect that front line. They have Xin and Shen who are going to be just diving right in, kind of bashing their faces against WE, and they're just tanky enough that they can do that. But then Nunu also provides great separation, and so that should be able to protect for XPK, and Ezreal's just generally safe in team fights. So if they keep Jarvan and Orianna off of Evelyn in particular, then that Evelyn late game can just be insane with the AoE damage that she does, and also the burst to take down an AD carry. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Well, the one thing I think is going to be really good on Fnatic's side, with the exception of Olaf, who can run through this, is they've got a lot of area of effect crowd control at short range. Absolute Zero, the Agony's Embrace, the ultimate from Evelyn, and you've also even got Shen for Shadow Dash, and even Xin Zhao for the Crescent Sweep to knock everything back. The guys who try to run in and take down Reckless are going to run into like 4 area of effect like knockback or slow ultimates. And so, I mean, Reckless is going to be, it's very hard for him to die, honestly. You've got an entire team kind of built around supporting him and letting him carry the game out. And because both Evelyn and Xin Zhao will do % health damage. All those tanks in the front line are going to get dropped to half, and Reckless can just shoot at them and make them all fall over.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to me to see how effective Jarvan can be in this game, because Jarvan as an early game champion can be extremely powerful. He can just completely dominate team fights with his burst and how tanky he is early on, but he's very cooldown dependent. And if you look at a lot of the lanes, one of the reasons why people haven't played a lot of Jarvan jungle is because they're a little unsure of his ganks. Like, you compare him with someone like Maokai, who has that lock on. You look at Evelyn; she has the movement speed boost. So, you know, if she's not slowed by Orianna, she should be able to dodge. I believe that standard. And then you look at Shen as well. He has that taunt. Ezreal has the arcing shift.
Generally speaking, I consider Xin Zhao, I mean, yeah, you're right. You can miss it because he's not Maokai, but he's got it at longer range, and he can use it to escape.
Yeah.
So he works better against counter jungling. His actual problem is that his jungle itself is actually quite slow. He doesn't have nearly the area of effect damage of Maokai. He just tends to be more focused on ganking. So if you're trying to keep track of how well they're doing on the jungle, it's really going to be, and of course I called Clear Love the support earlier, but it's going to be Clear Love. You're going to see him, if he doesn't get good jungle ganks off, you're going to see him fall behind. He really needs those to succeed to do well here.
But we actually see Clear Love, as we get into this game, World Elite, they're making way down to the blue, the standard being used to check that bush, and actually Messiah as well, keeping vision, trying to see spot out Fnatic, but Fnatic, they might come in for a blue steal.
Now, Wei Zhao's about to face check up in this brush with his teammate. You can see they're right across the wall from Fnatic, and Messiah finds him in the Ice Blast lands. They're going to try to move in. Exhaust is on. They want this kill. Can they get the knockup? 3 talent strike hits once. There's the pull. Cyanide has to flash over the wall, but they find Salma. He's been knocked up. The taunt is on Messiah. Dropped into the back. First blood going to Reckless, and they're moving forward. Wei Zhao goes down for the double kill, and things have started off great for Fnatic.
Well, Messiah, once he saw the pull onto Cyanide, he just dove straight into the enemy team. It looked like he was maybe out of there, but he was trying to secure that first blood. He was really hungry for it, and in the end, it kind of resulted in his own death. So 2-0 early for Fnatic. That's exactly the kind of start they want. And look at it, 2-0 on Ezreal. So he gets the Doran's Blade, and he gets a ward, and not only that, they're sending them top lane. So the previous match, I had actually talked to them afterwards. They had a Jace pick, and I was kind of wondering, hey, guys, you know, World Elite, they had a favorable matchup against you in lane, in your bot lane. Why didn't you use lane swap? And they just said, you know what, I don't know, because their bot lane, Wei Zhao, and FCZZ really did really well against us. But World Elite sitting here trying to control the blue. XPK, he's actually coming in on the backside.
Thing is, they have ward coverage here. Like, XPK is completely caught out here. If he takes an Undertow chain, and he's going to get one, Clear Love is here, goes for the knockup, he's going to flash away. He's got Lizard buff, though. Undertow does not land. Pekka could still run away from this. He will make it out just barely, but that was a burn flash that seemed a little aggressive there. The one thing I want to point out, though, is WE are lane swapping and 2v1ing mid lane to shut down Evelyn.
Yeah, and I actually thought they might be sending that lane up top just to, you know, make sure that they got that lane, but absolutely, shutting down XPK in that mid lane is going to be beneficial for them. I'm a little bit surprised that Clear Love actually didn't flash for Evelyn, because Evelyn, the flash was down. She had a long way back to her turret. He had the red buff. If he just flashed to get one auto attack, I think it would have been enough slow to secure that for them. But being conservative, they want to make sure that they keep up their defensive summoners. They don't put themselves in a dangerous spot. And Messiah coming down to the bot lane, he's going to be laning versus Soaz. So an interesting matchup there, but I would generally think that Shen's going to be tanky enough to deal with that.
Shen will be fine, but the lanes work better for WE. They actually gave Zhao a blue buff when he took that down with Clear Love. So he's going to be 1v2ing with infinite Undertows. He will have really, I feel, no problem laning against here. Ezreal, Nunu cannot force him to die, especially when Exhaust is down. So he should be able to farm more or less in peace. He'll take some poke, but otherwise be okay.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do to shut down the Olaf once he has blue. I mean, there are things, but it's very difficult. You know, if you have an aggressive lane, then maybe you can do that. But I just don't see that happening from Ezreal and Nunu. And we'll kind of see there's the hook on XPK in the mid lane, some quick damage, and he's going to have to be backing out. And that's, like you said, really dangerous. If they can't get XPK farmed, then, you know, Evelyn could really be shut down in this game. And she needs just the first handful of items, and then she's solid. But, you know, she definitely needs to get there.
Yeah, the major build here for Evelyn is typically a stack of magic penetration, because you'll deal a bunch of damage through your ultimate no matter what, and you just want to synergize that damage as much as possible. And reducing your opponent's magic is the best way of optimizing that. You're right, Soaz and Cyanide both coming in. They're looking for SCZF and Wei Zhao.
Oh, the flash taunt. He misses. Wei Zhao's able to get out of there. XPK is actually chasing him down, trying to get in range. Corki just actually backing out. But there's the hook, trying to grab XPK, just seeing if he continues to follow. So World Elite, they're safe once again. Fnatic trying to make some plays, make sure they can solidify that mid for XPK.
It does hurt Soaz a little bit because he has to spend time running off to the other side of the map, and he misses some experience in gold and lane in general. Actually, clearlove coming to gank the top lane. This is actually a pretty good chance. Their end rated doesn't have a lot to get away with here.
Yeah, but Zin's pretty close by, and I'm not sure they can take them down fast enough before Cyanide gets there. And Cyanide has the double buff as opposed to Clearblood, or Clearlove, who is empty right now. But we'll see if he actually goes in. He might just be waiting.
Wow.
Evelyn's coming up as well, so this is actually a 4v2 on Fnatic if Clearlove goes in.
All right, and here we go. Clearlove makes the move. They don't know the other two from Fnatic are here. Salmai at half health. He's going for end rated, and suddenly here comes Cyanide. He's going to jump into the air, but there's the exhaust. Can they chase this down? He is slowed enough. Xpeka, will he get it? Yes, he picks one. And they will not chase Salmai to the turret. A beautiful counter gank from Fnatic.
And that was perfect to get that onto Xpeka because he's in such a dangerous situation. Now they're zoning them off the turret and trying to drop this turret. Xpeka, he's just waiting in the bushes. They might be able to actually go in on Calme. He has to really watch out here. They're chasing him down now. Xpeka just going to get some damage and then back off. He's pretty low, actually. Calme almost taking him down. But getting the kill onto Evelyn as opposed to Ezreal. Ezreal's already in a great situation, and they need to make sure to snowball that Evelyn.
With F's as a def there, if he landed some kind of freakish rocket grab, whatever he hit, if it was either N-rated or Xpeka, he would have died.
Freakish.
I hate you.
But so far in the bot lane, Messiah and Soaz, they look pretty comfortable. It's a pretty even lane matchup so far, but one of the issues with sending Messiah down that bottom lane is the fact that he doesn't have easy access to that blue. I mean, that's not an issue yet since it hasn't respawned, but you know, generally standard on Orianna, you go for a quick chalice, and that'll definitely help him out, but I'm curious if they'll swap him out of there.
Well, if you can check his gold, actually, it's 890 to buy a chalice. He's got more. Yeah, he's got enough. He's got 1,000 gold here. So at the very worst, sitting at the bottom lane, you know, he'll be okay. It's still not the best. The one thing they have, though, is they have 2 champions in mid, so they could go for a blue steal, and they would have a 4v3 advantage there and could make the steal happen and just give the other team's blue buff to Orianna. Yeah,
but you see Fnatic, they're actually making a lane swap here. So Ezreal and Nunu coming down, they're going to send Soaz up top again. That's going to give them a little bit more flexibility for that dragon. They can start using that teleport. And one of the issues when you had that Orianna matchup, and we've seen Orianna sometimes go top lane against Shen, is that she can just constantly push him into the turret once she has that mana. So now getting him away from that lane, you know, it gives them a little bit more flexibility in these team fights to expand upon their 3-0 lead.
And the other thing that Fnatic is now doing as well is Soaz is very close to level 6, and that means the timing kind of works out in 2 ways. One, Dragon is now an option for both these teams, and 2, Soaz can grab that global teleport from Stand United. So they want to put him as far away from the other team as possible, or as far away from Dragon as possible, to get the most out of that ultimate, because that means the rest of the team is going to be nearby in the mid and bottom lane.
Oh, and XPK, he's coming up top again. Calme, he's almost level 6, but recalling, so really safe play from him. That's absolutely perfect from the World Elite top lane to just recognize that there is a potential for a gank situation. He doesn't have any wards. He's pushed up. He just gets out of there.
Okay, well, we're seeing, all the buffs being taken out right now.
Oh, the hook on N-rated down bot, almost doing enough damage. Wei Zhao actually backs off, but that's one of the strengths of that Nunu in that bot lane is just how tanky he is, even with those hooks against Blitzcrank. Yeah,
you pick him, and you don't care that much because realistically it just puts you in range for Ice Blast. Ice Blast is actually one of the shortest range single target abilities. It's 550, most are 625, and so you've got like a 20% range disadvantage over most of these sort of single target spells. So getting pulled in actually helps him quite a bit. Clearlove, though, he's poised to gank the bottom lane, and Cyanide, he's not making moves down just yet. No, he's going towards his blue.
Yeah, I actually thought he might go in for the Wraiths, seeing that Clearlove is down there. Knowing that they would have the 2v1, if Orianna tried to stop him, he might be able to get some quick counter jungling. But it is actually a safe opportunity to grab that blue, make sure they can hand it over to XPK before World Elite maybe gets an opportunity to join up. So they will back out of there. And with that mid-reds, that's really going to help Fnatic with some objective control when they already have a gold lead.
Okay, the retreat ping goes off in the mid lane. They ping out that Evelyn is gone. Of course, she's only grabbing the golem buff up, but still, it's actually funny because you could actually gank as Evelyn right as your blue respawns, and they'll expect you to go for blue instead and kind of sneak in a gank from that. Instead, they are doing the safe option, but this helps Evelyn. You're going to see her roam so much more now. She's got upgraded boots, which gets her around the map faster, and now with golem buff, she can spam hate spike, drop the minion wave down in mid, and get out there to pick up the gold.
And now you actually see, while WE, they're taking the blue, Fnatic, they're going to be moving down for this dragon. And WE, I don't think they're going to be in position to take it. Blitzcrank, he's going to try and stall them a little bit, but it's going to drop very, very quickly with that Madreds. And Fnatic pulls into a 3K gold lead.
Nice job by Fnatic, and they happen to time that right as Orianna went to go grab her own golem buff. The teleport coming back into the top lane there, and Tammy's like, hey, buddy, do not try to push into my turret. Xpeka looking around at the Wraith camp. He's not going to find anything here. Messiah waiting around as well. And Pekka's going to run to the bottom. This is going to be a 3 Actually a 3v3 at the bottom, unless Pekka tries to kick.
Yeah, he's actually coming in behind, and so if once they see Clearlove, it could just break out, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, they see each other. Pekka is not the. Oh, they're going to ult in with Shen. It's going to be suddenly a 4 versus 3, and here everybody comes in, misses the Ezreal ult, but they're going to pick off one. There's Clearlove. Wei Xiao getting focused on. He's out of range. He gets down. Pekka going for the 3rd kill, chasing onto FTZF, but here comes Messiah. Messiah, he could pick one up, and rated is very, very low. Shockwave goes off. There's the dissonance. Can he get it? Yes, but he is now surrounded. So has got to be careful. He taunts it anyway. And now FTZF, can he get away from this one? He's taking a bit of punishment.
Oh,
he's going to pull.
Oh, man. XPK barely getting out of there. But all of the damage from Fnatic, it's now a 6-1 lead. That is absolutely terrifying, particularly 3-0 onto Evelynn. So they're able to pick up a couple of kills. That Evelynn-Shen combo is just brutal for those ganks early on. And Messiah, you know, getting a little ahead of himself, thinking he can maybe clean up there. He only is able to grab Nunu, which is definitely not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, the thing is, he had a flash. He thought he could just jump away from it afterwards. I mean, he knew he had the free kill on Nunu, and that's an okay risk to take. But yeah, he got caught out even despite the flash, and that really hurts things. I want to talk about that Shen Evelynn, though, because that was crazier than I thought it would be, but it worked out because, you know, Pekka ran in there, and he, like, face-checked a brush with Jarvan in it, and I was like, ooh, that's risky. He's going to jump on you, and then suddenly the purple bubble shows up, and I'm like, oh, you can do whatever you want. You've got Shen on your team. And it was just like everyone slowed. Shadow Dash had so many on the team. Reckless completely whiffed True Shot Barrage, and they still picked up everything.
And that's going to have a big effect later in the game that Shen shield, he doesn't have to use it on the AD carry since Israel is so safe, which means that his primary target is going to be Evelynn in those team fights. And we've seen with like M5 how effective Evelynn can be, but in particular, coming in behind the backline of the enemy team, focusing down a target. Wei Xiao might be a little bit too safe. If he can get in there, that would be effective, but he might be able to just instantly drop Orianna before the fights even happen later on.
And that's going to be just a huge risk. The one thing that helps WE actually a lot is when you deal with percent health, it actually pulls in onto end rated, suddenly it's a 2 versus 3. Look at the burst, he's down to a quarter, pops the ult because he needs to. Reckless up in a duel against Clearlove, jumps over the wall, one more hit, can he get the ult?
Oh, he misses!
Not. He's in a duel against Wei Xiao, though. He's going to win this fight, he's got more gold. Wei Xiao, what are you doing? He picks him up. Reckless just crushing.
2 seconds until the hook is up, so if FZZF, if he finds an opportunity, he could maybe go back in for this, but Evelynn's coming around the backside. XPK, he has his ultimate, so he's going to be able to drop him pretty quickly, and now Ezreal can come in on the side. That's going to be another kill. The hook happens onto Reckless, but it's not enough, and Fnatic turning it around, they pick up another couple of kills.
Wow, just making moves over and over again. Great job. And Sinat at the same time, he took over the mid lane and actually pressured Messiah a bit. You can see Messiah down to about half health, actually forced to recall back at this point, I think, just because, you know, Xin Zhao shows up, puts on some damage, and, you know, the warrior spirit is strong with this one.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting when we were in Champ Select. Orianna, I've seen in the past Orianna used as a counter to Evelynn because in fights you can zone her pretty effectively, and then even in lane you can just be extremely offensive in zoner. But Fnatic, because of the front line that they have, and now that Evelynn is this fed, there's like 0% chance of that happening almost. I mean, still in team fights, there's the chance that Orianna can protect her team, and they have the quick enough burst if they can spot out the Evelynn. So wards later on, when they're pushing and when they're at objectives, are going to be very important to spot XPK before he comes in, but it's still a scary prospect when Evelynn is this fed.
Oh, absolutely, and the one other good thing that's in WE's favor here is they've got 3 champions who use shields. Blitzcrank, Orianna, and Jarvan. And those are completely not taken into account. Actually, so again, up on the down at the top lane, they're going to put a lot of damage. A beautiful crescent sweep puts him backwards, but there's the Ghost, the Bromacia, the Ragnarok. He's going to get away. So the way these shields work, though, is they're not taken into account when you do percentage of max health or percentage of current health damage. So you basically get free health that doesn't help Cyanide and Pekka do bonus damage to you. So WE will be a bit more durable than you would otherwise expect in those kinds of encounters.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to help. I mean, as well, we saw in the first time that Fnatic and World Elite played earlier on, this is kind of a different situation because Fnatic is just, stomping WE right now, and they're in a great situation. Wei Xiao getting caught out of position. He's going to Valkyrie back, but he has his team to help him out. There's the Jarvan ultimate on XPK, but the Shen ultimate as well, trying to turn around the Blitz hook and the Shen taunt, but XPK does go down, and now Wei Xiao kiting perfectly again. So as he flashes, picks up the kill with the Ignite. Ezreal coming down, though, and Messiah trying to turn this around.
Well, that's going to be a pretty unfortunate. So he's low, but he's got so much durability, they actually can't chase him down. Reckless coming in for the support. So it turns out to be a 1-for-1, which is pretty crazy. A great job by Soaz to make that one not too bad.
The fact that Shen is going to be so tanky later on in these fights, having that early Sunfire is really going to set up Fnatic particularly well. we saw that that was something that Moscow 5 used to great effect. Darien getting an early Sunfire or getting an early Warmogs onto Shen. He's just able to tank the entire team later on and then set up the rest of his team for that snowball.
And the great thing about the early Sunfire here is not only is he doing well, so he grabbed it early. Oh yeah, you're right. He's actually spotted by this ward here.
Fnatic reckless, he's going in, he actually uses his ultimate, the quick flash from Messiah, he's actually going to survive. There's the pop-up from Blitzcrank, and then Clearlove actually coming in. They get the shutdown onto Reckless, and now N-rated, he's in a dangerous spot. He has no team to help him, he's gonna try and turn around. The flash over the wall, just barely getting out of there, turning back into him. Perfect play from N-rated, but still, that was a 6-1 advantage for Fnatic. Now it's 9-4, slowly making its way back towards WE.
What I really like about their team right now is the last 5 minutes have been them collapsing on their own team very, very quickly. Last time it was okay because SOAS managed to stand united on P.E.K.K.A and make it a 1-for-1, but over and over we're seeing WE sniff out these ganks and then all show up in time to keep themselves alive.
Yeah, and that's the key, is that great vision of WE and that map presence. Another Dragon for Fnatic, and having that's such a significant goal lead, it allows them to just take control of the entire map. Now Olaf is stuck down bottom. He does have his ultimate, but he doesn't have the Ghost. If XPK can get in range, he's going to be able to get the slow before the ultimate pops off, and now he can get that cleanse, but it's still dangerous. They're actually walking right into Clearlove, though, and the rest of WE is responding.
There we go, P.E.K.K.A down to half health, time pretty low. He's going to be able to walk out easily. Messiah shows up. There's the ultimate as well. Clearlove drops so low, but he pulls him out, and Clearlove's going to be safe, and suddenly SOAS caught alone. And look at this, it's a 2 versus 5. Beautiful shockwave silence as well.
But they're doing Baron at the same time, so perfect response from WE. But look at this Baron, it's going to drop before WE can get there. They have no vision on it currently, and that Baron buff is going to be absolutely devastating. N-rated getting very close to going down. Reckless, he's going to have to start tanking, and it's very close to them not actually having enough damage to take it.
Well, they're pushing the bottom lane, though. They've got complete control of this one. Thankfully, Cyanide and Reckless both have a ton of lifesteal in general. They're dropping lower and lower.
They need some Wriggles procs.
He needs some damage. There it is, Baron buff. 1640, it drops down, and WE still has no idea that happened. Now they do.
Yeah, that is absolutely devastating. Once they see, now that they see that Baron buff, they do get that tower down bot. But like you said, perfect coordination from WE in responding, but it was a bait from Fnatic. And XPK and SOAS heading down into the bot lane, they force a fight, and the rest of Fnatic, they recognize, hey guys, WE, they're grouping up as a team, they're responding to our ganks, so let's take advantage of it. Let's bait them and manipulate them around the map. Really impressive play from Fnatic.
Yeah, the one thing though is like, and this is not to talk smack on Fnatic's strategy at all, but remember that it was 2 kills and a turret for Baron.
Yes.
That's actually pretty equal unless you use the Baron buff itself. And recall, 2 members of Fnatic were dead when they got Baron, so it's 3/5 of a Baron buff. The gold's pretty much equal, the gold and experience together pretty much equal. So can Fnatic actually use the Baron buff itself to push an advantage forward?
Well, and particularly when WE has such a safe team at defending, if they can just sit under their turrets. Fnatic, they need to be able to win fights and pick off members of WE in order to continue to push. Ezreal actually making his way up top. He has that red buff for Cal May, and they might try and group on him.
Well, Reckless going to go in for a little bit of damage. Samai does have his ultimate.
Yep.
Of course, you're not going to dive in too hard. I think Fnatic learned the lesson about diving into be champions. WE tends to show up.
And I think one of the cool things that we've seen so far from WE is how effective Blitzcrank can be in team fights. Because a lot of times, Blitzcrank, if you miss the hook, then you're kind of inconsequential in some of those fights. But he's saving his hook for Evelynn in particular, and he's landing him. So they force a fight onto Evelynn, and then just before someone goes down, he yanks Evelynn away from his teammate and even deeper in. So it's kind of a neat little thing there. And
it's worked so well with how they've built this together, because Clearlove on Jarvan
might come in behind, though.
Yeah, they're looking for a chance for a tower dive here. They know SOAS has Stand United available. He's pulled Clearlove over. They will make it a 5 versus 4. And the thing about Jungle Jarvan with Clearlove is he's not all that tanky. Oh my gosh, that was a close pull. He's not very tanky overall, because junglers don't get a whole lot of gold in general. And so he's getting, when he Demasias and hits Cataclysm on someone, he's isolated and likely to die very quickly in that sort of duel. And when Blitzcrank pulls that guy out, he pulls him and Clearlove is low, and no longer tanking any damage, and they get the kill, he survives, and they got an isolation.
Yeah, that isolation is exactly what WE needs, because they do have that kiting potential somewhat on their team. So if they can pick off targets, that's definitely the opportunity for them to come back into this game. And we've seen that some from a couple of teams so far this tournament. Particularly Fnatic has actually used that to come back against CLGNA. They would use that Blitzcrank. Cal May actually trying to chase down Reckless, can't quite get in range, but if WE continues to play this safe game and doesn't allow Fnatic to take any further hold, they could hold off and grab a couple of kills to get back into it.
I like what, oh, he's going to find Wei Zhao in the mid lane. There we go. In fact, putting a lot of damage out. Actually afraid right now. Baits it in, goes for the ult. Can he get the damage? Stand united. Wei Zhao goes down. Peck. Oh, I think that was the first judgment mistake I've ever seen Wei Zhao make. He knew that the ult would be available. Clearlove getting dived on as well. Finally hits the true shot barrage. There's the Cataclysm. Clearlove flashes away. So as he follows, that's 2 for nothing, and they still have control over this turret, and now all 5 are there for Fnatic.
Yeah, there's not enough minions right now for them to let them tank, but so as he's so beefy right now, they're just going to go up and tank those turrets. There's not enough. Actually, Cyanide, he flashes in. They get Kalme. He's in a really dangerous spot here. Ezreal flashing, trying to get the damage. The pull of XPK under the turret, but he flashes out and barely survives. 13-6, they get the turret, they get the inhibitor, and Fnatic is well on their way to a Game 1 victory here.
13-6, 20 minutes in. This is looking so dominant. This is the Fnatic that won the Season 1 World Championship. You can just see the moves that they are making. Everything is working for them so beautifully well. And Pekka, I mean, that play, he actually tried to bait Valkyrie. He actually tried to lose the fight at the beginning so that Wei Zhao would actually try to fight him, right? Oh, I'm losing. Valkyrie onto me, bro. And then Shen shows up, and it's all the burst in the world.
And it looked like he was going to have it because he kept his positioning at the beginning of it perfect. He was at his exact range from XPK. So even though XPK was fighting him, he wasn't getting quite the amount of burst damage you would expect from Evelynn, and he started out winning. But you're right, he baited it in. And then Wei Zhao, who usually keeps the perfect distance, he flew into melee range with Evelynn.
So all-in an Evelynn. Like, you don't do that. No, you never all-in an Evelynn. Oh well. It was a nice try, you know, of course, and Fnatic, once again, they are playing this so beautifully, and they're going back to kind of square one, how a team with Shen will tend to play this. You're seeing Soaz split push at the bottom lane, Fnatic's grouping, sort of grouping and grabbing up all the general objectives, and they're pushing all the lanes in. They know the inhibitor's down in the mid lane. They've got a couple outer turrets to kill off. Soaz, he's going to feel safe. It's been very hard for the other team to pick him off, and so he will sort of one versus the world right here.
Yeah, he will be able to push them down, and it's going to be really dangerous. XPK wandering around, trying to see who he can grab. They don't have the best wards right now, but there's a couple dropping. And, you know, getting those wards and getting the oracles as well to just continue with their advantage over WE will be really important. They have Cyanide, has that oracles to try and clear that out. But WE at this instance, it's really important for them to just make plays. They need to be able to pick people off very quickly because soon this 13K gold lead will result in Fnatic just bull rushing their base.
Well, the one thing they can really rely on, and it's pretty much the only thing, honestly, is Blitzcrank. Their team has a
but there's the surrender. They actually surrender, so they recognize the game is over. WE so far behind from Fnatic, and they just kind of discuss it for a little bit. They're like, this is not happening, guys. Wow. And Fnatic, they take game 1 of this series.
So I mean, that's impressive. Again, this is a sort of a replay of the very first group stage game where they got dropped 0-1. By Team WE, and they're coming back and looking ludicrously strong here, taking it up 1-0 in this winner bracket final. The team that wins here is guaranteed 2nd place at IPL 5, and this is like ludicrously highly skilled tournament here. All these teams here are ridiculously strong. When you see a team like a Zubu Blaze